Hey guys, this is Matt Granger, that Nikon guy for mattgranger.com. Today Nikon announced their new D4, and that means that both Nikon and Canon have now played their cards and shown what their latest and greatest pro-grade, full-size body with integrated grip professional DSLR is going to look like. So we've got the D4 and from Canon the 1DX. Now Canon have merged their lineups into a single model. I don't know that Nikon has done that. I think they'll still come out with a D4X at some stage, which will be a higher resolution model. And I still personally wouldn't be surprised if Canon brings out a 1DXS as a studio version with higher resolution as well. That's just my gut feeling. So I thought now's a timely opportunity to compare them. Of course, we're only comparing spec sheets. I haven't seen, any in-depth testing on either of these yet, really, to show the performance of them. But looking through the two of them, so first, starting off with the Nikon, it is 16.2 megapixel, a brand new CMOS sensor. We haven't seen what it can deliver yet, whereas the Canon is a 18.1 megapixel sensor, and that's also CMOS. It's also brand new. They both have full HD video. The Canon will do 1080p at 30 frames, 25 and 24 frames per second. So will the Nikon. The Canon will also do 720 and 60 and 50. The Nikon, I know, and I guess it'll do it in 30, 24 and everything as well. The Nikon, it seems, I don't think they do 50. I think they do 60, but then they do the lower ones as well. So high frame rate, that's cool. If you're into doing videography, that could come in really handy. Running through some of the other differences and similarities, they both have a total expandable range for ISO that will go from 50 to 204,800, which is just stupid high. I mean, it's just, the numbers double as big, but, double just means it's one stop higher. So it's one stop further than the D3S. If they've maintained the ISO performance, but, increase it to a 16 megapixel instead of, an 18 megapixel, no, 16. Yeah, if they've increased it from a 12 megapixel to a 16, that's still a third increase. But, hopefully that's at least one stop of performance better, not just rated higher. You could make a camera that'll do 1 million ISO and just look like terrible, like completely unusable. They could do that now. You just put a whole heap of charge through the circuit and, you get it, but it won't be usable. So fingers crossed both of these will be, increasing the amount that you can actually make a decent print from. They're both 36 by 24 millimeter full frame. They both have full viewfinder coverage. The Canon is faster, 12 frames per second compared to the Nikon's 10 with full autofocus. And the autofocus, the Canon also has 61 points, whereas the Nikon only has 51 points. However, Canon's 21 diagonal that are rated to 5.6, then it's got 5 in the center rated to 2.8, and then 20 that are rated to f4, whereas the Nikon has 9 that are cross type that are rated all the way to f8. So if you're shooting at that, on a slower lens or a really long lens where you need to be around f8, then you're going to have better, on specs alone, you're going to have a better chance of getting good quick focus with the D4 than you would with the 1DX. Both have a maximum shutter speed of 1/8000th of a second. We'll go through to 30 seconds and have bulb. Both sync up to 1/250th of a second as usual. Both rated to 400 shutter actuations, on the shutter mechanism. Metering, the Canon has a 252 zone RGB, whereas the Nikon has a ridiculous 91,000 pixel RGB 3D matrix meter, up from the 1,000 and whatever it was previously. it's hard to know what that really means until we see it in performance. It could mean that it's astonishingly good at metering, or it could just mean it's a slight improvement and they've just got, you know, some new system that requires loads of points. They're both going up to a 3.2 inch screen. It looks like the Canon has a higher resolution one. They both have double compact flash slots. The Canon is up to UDMA 7. One of the D4s, though, will take an XQD, which is the super fast one that isn't even out on the market yet. In terms of body sizes, they're pretty much on par. They're both as high. The Nikon's just slightly narrower, but it's considerably deeper. It's 0.3 of an inch or 10% deeper than the Canon. So, wrapping all of that up, it has to be said on specs, it looks like the Canons, you know, assuming they both perform brilliantly, and they will. You know, I'm that Nikon guy, but let's be fair, each, you know, flagship camera that they've brought out for, well, forever really, has been a big step forward from the one before, or at least a good improvement, and they've been remarkable performers. So I have no doubt, go out and buy a Canon 1DX. You're going to love it. It's going to blow all the other Canons that have been there before out of the water. So will the D4. Doesn't mean you need to buy them, but they both will be fantastic. But comparing the specs, the Canon has higher resolution. It has faster shooting rate. Well, autofocus we won't know, but it has 61 points compared to 51. So if you're just comparing numbers, that's up. Video mode, the D4 may actually win that one because you've got the different crop modes, which sounds useful. A higher resolution LCD, and, you know, there's a couple of other little variations, but they are some of the big ones that people care about. The suggested manufacturer's retail price for the Canon is $6,800, whereas the D4 is $6,000. So, you know, if you're, you know, I don't think that $800 is going to sway you. You know, if you're looking at buying either of these, you've probably got $10,000 in lenses already. So, you know, that's not going to do it, but it's a bit over 10% difference in price, so that's interesting as well. So, you know, I'm sure they'll both be phenomenal. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. The 5D Mark III, the D800, and the D4X, or whatever it's going to be, to, you know, if they do a high resolution one soon from D4. But yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on them. I'll be sure to get the D4 as soon as it comes out, whether it's my own version. I'm still a little bit up in the air about it, or whether I just arrange a loaner, but it'll definitely be as soon as I possibly can to do a good hands-on comparison. And I'll see who of my friends is buying a 1DX. If they get one straight out of the box, I'll bring that to you as soon as I possibly can too, and fingers crossed, as soon as I can, I'll have a head-to-head of the 1DX and the D4 for everyone to see. So, you know, title fight time, guys. The new champs are entering the ring, and I just can't wait to see what they can deliver, especially in terms of low light performance and what dynamic range. Stay tuned. This is Matt Granger, that Nikon guy, for MattGranger.com.